What's up, guys? Today we're coming at you with a Frog Monarch deck profile, or them Frog Narcs. This is a deck that I've always found myself coming back to, especially when you have a changing of formats or just wanting to refresh the old mechanics or the old game state skills that you need to play the game. But let's jump into the deck profile. Let's see what we're coming at you with. I'm running one Lightness Darkness Dragon. This card is just all around good for just getting them good negates. Now, just got to be mindful that every time you activate a card, either be on your side of the field or your opponent's, you're still going to get a negate. So he's going to negate regardless, and he's going to subtract 500 attack and defense from himself. When it gets to the point where he can't subtract any more attack and defense, then he can't negate no more. But he's very good for helping keep your opponent at bay. And also, too, when he's destroyed, he wipes your board, gets you a special summon up a monster. So he's very good. I also run the Vanity's Brothers and one Vanity's Ruler, one Vanity's Fiend, and one Majesty's Fiend. These guys are just all around good for just being able to make sure your opponent can't do things that they want to do. You got Vanity's Ruler. He costs 2 tributes, but to get him on board and your opponent can't special summon, but you still can, is very, very good. Your Vanity's Fiend to be able to say special summons to stop to everything, and your Majesty's Fiends to just hit on all those monster effects that pop off that you really don't want happening. So these 3 right here can really be game changers when you drop them. We're running 2 Rise of the Storm Monarch. This guy, I always liked him to be able to just attribute off a Treeborn Frog, spin back a pesky card that your opponent put a lot of resource into, and just be able to keep putting that on top of the deck and just stall them out. It can be very, very good. Running 2 Mobius the Frost Monarch. Mobius is, to me, always been good. He's always still going to be good. The fact that it's on summon, he's going to hit 2 cards. That's a Twin Twister without a cost. And the fact is, if your opponent has a warning or a strike or something like that, depending on what's going on, they're probably going to want to stop that, even though they're going to be paying those life points, because that other card might be more crucial for them later down the road. So to me, one way or another, you're still going to be making your opponent make a decision that they don't really want to make. We're running 3 Caius the Shadow Monarch. Caius has always been one of my favorite monarchs ever since they announced him. The fact that he can just own summon, get a free banish of a card on the field, whether it be a back row or a monster, has always been good. And the fact that if it's a dark monster, he gives an extra 1,000 burn damage to your opponent, so he could really set your opponent up for some really bad days. We're running 3 of the Swamp Frog. Swamp Frog is just, he's a real nutty little, creature. He looks like he's not really doing that much, but he builds up that slow advantage for the deck, and he can just continuously keep getting that special summon, which is really crazy. To pitch a water monster special summoning and then target a water monster, bounce it back to hand, which usually is going to be itself, he just gets free advantage for yourself. And if you got a Rodent Totem in the graveyard, it just gets even nuttier from that. Running 3 Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog is your searcher. Also, he helps you whenever he's destroyed to get your Swamp Frog, but just be careful of him because he can miss his timing. So that's something you need to watch out for whenever you have this card and it gets destroyed. Just be careful of that. Run 2 Rodent Totem. Rodent Totem just to be able to banish out a frog out of your graveyard, and just to be able to get a special summon helps you get into that totally awesome that much faster. Running 2 Treeborn Frog. I always run this card at 2 because there's times that you're going to run into decks that they're going to have that DD Crow, you're going to run into Trishula, things like that. So to be able to make sure you have 2 lit at all times is very, very crucial. Just to be able to make sure that you can have one in the graveyard to keep sneaking out for yourself. Running 1 Glow Up Bulb just because there's some good synchro play that you can make with this deck. The deck can do some really nutty things, and to be able to have 1 Glow Up Bulb that you can get 2 uses out of it, very, very good. Running 3 Gores. Gores, it saves bodies. I mean, the fact there's going to be times that you're going to take a big hit to the Biscuit. It's going to happen. And whenever you take that big hit and you got a clear board, you want to be able to make sure you can drop that Gores. Another thing, you might have an empty field and you have something like crazy like Trickstar you're going against. They keep burning you for all that damage. Drop this guy, deal the damage back to them too. So it can help you out a lot. And lastly, for our monsters, we're running 3 Battle Fader. Battle Fader is just all around good, just to be able to make sure that whenever your opponent declares that attack, they got all that big OTK. You say, Battle Fader, no sir. One more phase, and then tribute off during your phase for whatever you need to. But that is it for our monsters. For our spell cards, we're running 1 Foolish Burial. Like I said, you want to make sure you get whatever frog you need in the graveyard, whatever monster you need in the graveyard as soon as possible, as fast as possible. We're running 2 Soul Exchange. Soul Exchange has always been that card that you don't want to run it, but you run it because it helps the deck. This card is going to be one of those cards that, even though you're not getting your battle phase, you're usually going to be clearing off more than what you're getting out of it. So it's a good trade-off. If you're dropping a Mobius, they got 3 cards over there, 2 back row, and a monster. You clear off the monster and the 2 back row. So even though you're not getting a battle phase, you're really setting your opponent back. So it doesn't really matter if you're not getting that battle phase. Just be mindful of this card. This card does say select, so it's a target. So just be mindful of that. It's not like Stormforth. Speaking of, running 1 the Monarch Stormforth, this card is like a kaiju. When you play it, you're getting that monster. Whatever monster you want, you play it, you get a monster. The difference, this right here, you want to use this for the little small monsters, the monsters that don't really matter, that you really don't care about. You want to use this for that. This right here, you want to save for that big boss monster. You want to wait till they get that crazy monster out there that you say, you know what, this deck can't really get over that. Then you play this and you just go off on your opponent after that. Because we're running Frognarks, running 3 Enemy Controller. Enemy Controller is just all around good. I like this card. I've always liked this card. The fact that you can get 2 uses out of it. The fact that you can turn a monster's battle position, and the fact that you got Treeborn Frog that keeps coming out during every standby phase. So when Treeborn Frog comes out, you chain this to it, tribute this off, get that opponent's monster. Treeborn Frog comes right back out again right beside of it. And if you got multiple copies of this, you just keep chaining them off, get all their monsters over there, and do whatever you need to do with those monsters. And that, to me, is very, very funny, because Treeborn Frog is just giving you free advantage for nothing. Lastly, for the spells, we're running 3 Scapegoats. This deck, like I said, I played during the old school, Dual Monsters era, through the GOAT format, things like that. And this is the closest thing that I play with now that's close to like GOAT format era type stuff. And to me, to be able to flip 4 Scapegoats out there, flip this, get 4 Scapegoats out there, especially when your opponents think they're going to body you, it's just very, very funny. And also on top of this, this helps you get into easy, quick links. And to be able to get 4 of these out there on the end phase, tribute 2 of them off, get 2 pointers, tribute 2 more off, get another link monster, and just go off with your frog plays, could be very, very useful to you and can get a lot of easy advantage for yourself. But that is it for our spells. For our traps, we're only running 2 traps, and the team was built off these 2 traps. Is Waboku. Waboku just helps you to just make sure you don't get bodied. You got mirror forces, things like that, bottomless trap holes, warning strikes, things of this nature. They're all good. They're very, very useful. But they can say Twin Twister, Duster, whatever they want to say. Those cards are gone. You can't chain them. This card can be chained, and that was always the thing that we always looked at that was very, very good. This card is just like no glove, no love. If you have this, you don't have this going on, guess what? You're gonna get it. But this right here is very, very good to be able to make sure that you can chain it at any time and just be able to keep the monsters on board to keep them from being destroyed by battle. Very, very good. But that is it for our main deck. For our extra deck, we're running 3 Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is just all around good for this deck, just to be able to get that special summon of a Swap Frog for free, get its effect off. Also 2 tribute off a card, get a free negate. Face that, flip that card. If it's a Raigeki, you flip it down in your spell and trap card zone. If it's a monster, put it in your face down zone, however you want to do it. but this card can help you to get easy advantage over your opponent. We're running 1 Sky Cavalry, just all around good to keep bouncing monsters back that could be troublesome cards. You know, detaching material, it's not going to be destroyed by battle. Push that card back, keep your advantage on the field. We're running 1 Cat Shark to be able to help to get that big OTK damage, you know, be able to target a water monster and get that, you know, big bump up can be very, very crucial. Running 2 Gotchi Gotchi. Gotchi Gotchi is just, you know, don't underestimate this card. This card could be very, very problematic. You get 2 of these out there in defense mode, another big monster too. This right here can add up very, very fast, and he's hard to get over at 22 defense. It's very, very hard. We're also running 1 Trishula because the deck can go into it fairly easily, and the fact that your opponent would not see a Trish coming from out of nowhere, especially playing Frog Monarchs, you're just sitting there, you're just beating them down with Frogs and Monarchs, and all of a sudden you just drop a Trish on them out of nowhere, and that's going to be surprising to them. So that could really catch a lot of opponents off guard. Also too, we're running 1 Naturia Beast. Like I said, the main thing to me is this deck, you want to keep locking your opponent out of plays that they you don't want them to see make. So if you drop a Naturia Beast and you put that beside of it, I mean, your opponent's gonna get very, very, they're gonna be like, what in the world's going on here? So things like that can be very, very useful for you. And because we're in the new Link era, we're also, like I said, Frog Monarchs can go into it too. We're running 1 Firewall Dragon. This is just to be able to make sure you can get into those extra link spots and to be able to help you to get to the load up 7 spots on your opponent, and your opponent can't do nothing about it. So that could be very, very good for you and make your opponent just scratch their head like, how in the world did this just happen? We're running 1 Deco Talker just because Deco Talker is a very good card. The fact that he can get up to 33 attack points, and also too, if your card's going to be targeted, knock off something that's on one of its link markers and just go off from there. Usually you're hoping it's going to be a frog, so very, very good. We're running 1 Gaia Saber, like I said, to be able to get those extra link markers hooked up to your Firewall Dragon to be able to help keep triggering those firewall effects is also awesome. We're running 2 Mrs. Radiant. Mrs. Radiant could be very easily gone into through our scapegoats, and it helps just to be able to get 4 scapegoats out there on the end phase, summon this out, and you still got 2 link markers pointing down. That way you can keep going into your totally awesome plays and things like that. And lastly, for the extra deck, we're running 1 Proxy Dragon just to be able to easily get into a Mrs. Radiant and this, and that's 3 link markers. Very, very easily, very, very simple. You know, just to be able to get 3 markers out there and just go on with your crazy plays. But that is it for the deck profile, guys. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. We're out.